Live from the WMSV television studios at the College of Mount St. Vincent, this is Channel 8 News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Along with Kacie McCormick and Stephanie Cruz, I'm Chris Sumo, and this is Channel 8 News. Our top story today: as millions prepare for the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday, a powerful winter storm sweeping across the country threatens to halt travel plans across the nation. The storm front, which has already been blamed for 8 deaths, is moving eastward, covering the country in a blanket of snow and rain and frigid temperatures. The storm, which began in California on Thursday, is now pounding parts of the Midwest with a mix of sleet and snow and has already forced the cancellations of almost 300 flights. The week of Thanksgiving is traditionally one of the busiest travel periods of the year, with upwards of 45 million Americans traveling over 50 miles for the busy holiday. The storm, which has brought unseasonable weather to places like California, Arizona, and Texas, is expected to move south across the south before jumping to the east coast later in the week. Though frigid temperatures and rain are expected along the eastern seaboard, the worst of the storm should be over by Thanksgiving Day, although near freezing cold will remain. Kacie?
5 people were shot at a Tulsa residence on Saturday around 7 p.m. The victims were shot at close range by a lone gunman. 2 victims, a man and a woman between the ages of 30 and 40, were pronounced dead at the scene. 2 other victims in their 50s died at the hospital. The 5th victim is in the hospital and in serious condition. Police found the back door of the house open and heard sounds of distress after entering. More people were found in other parts of the home and remained at the scene to cooperate with the authorities. There is indication that the suspect may have known the victims, but no motives have been found yet. Chris?
America mourned the 50th anniversary of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy this weekend, who even half a century after his death remains one of the most enduring figures in American history. President Obama visited the memorial of Kennedy this weekend, along with former President Bill Clinton. The two paid their respects to the Kennedy family before laying down a wreath in memory of the fallen president. President Kennedy, whose assassination became one of the pivotal events of the 20th century, is still considered an American political icon, with memorials of his passing occurring across the country over the weekend. Even 50 years after his death, John F. Kennedy still remains a beloved American figure. Stephanie?
A teddy bear was found on the side of the road stuffed with a bomb in North Carolina on Friday. Police said a news carrier found it on his rounds Thursday morning. When he picked it up, he noticed some sort of device fell out of the bear. He took the teddy bear home and noticed that it had some sort of smoke coming out, which made him call the police. The police and local bomb squad all responded to the call and secured the bear. The captain of the bomb squad said it was supposed to have started a fire, but it had malfunctioned, which is why it did not activate. Police are still investigating how and why the explosive teddy bear was on the side of the road. Kacie?
Long Island deli owner Nabil Jacob and his son Karim Jacob have been charged for scamming a customer out of a $1 million lottery ticket. The customer, who didn't speak English, bought a lottery ticket at the Peninsula Deli and Grocery in Hempstead on Thursday. He gave the winning ticket to Karim Jacob, who then gave the man $1,000 in cash and kept the ticket. The man returned on Friday, suspicious of the transaction. Jacob and his father offered the man $10,000 so he wouldn't go to the police. The customer went to the authorities, who determined the ticket was worth $1 million. Jacob and his father were arraigned on Saturday for grand larceny. Both men are being held on $7,500 bonds. Chris?
A volcanic eruption in the Pacific Ocean has led to the creation of a new island. The eruption occurred out to sea, far to the south of the Japanese capital of Tokyo. Advisories from the Coast Guard and the Japan Meteorological Agency said the islet is about 600 feet in diameter. It is just off the coast of the Nisoshima, a small uninhabited group of islands in the Ogg-Osawa chain, also known as the Bonin Islands. A volcanologist expert with the Coast Guard, Hiroshi Ito, has told us that it is possible the small new island will be eroded away by the sea, but a chance remains that it will last permanently. Volcanic activity in the area where the island was created is rare. The last time it occurred was in the 1970s. Kacie?
6-year-old Danny Keefe put up with bullying on the playground due to a speech disorder and his wardrobe choices. Keefe suffered a brain hemorrhage shortly after birth, leaving him with a speech disorder. He chooses to wear a suit, tie, and fedora to school. Other kids pull his hat down and call him hurtful names. Keefe is the water coach for the Bridgewater Badgers of Division V Pee Wee Football League in New England. 11-year-old quarterback Tommy Cooney heard the other kids were bullying Keefe. Cooney then wore a suit to school in honor of his friend. But he didn't stop there. Cooney organized a Danny Appreciation Day among his teammates and other students. 40 students turned up at the school library to support Keith. Cooney said that we should respect Keith because he doesn't let the bullying get. Keith went on to say that it was the best day ever. Stephanie?
Almost 3 hours after Kayla Mendoza of Hallandale Beach, Florida tweeted that she was too drunk to care, her car rammed into another vehicle. According to the Florida Highway Patrol, she supposedly killed 2 young women in the other car. 21-year-old best friends Caitlin Ferrante and Marissa Cacciarioni both died in the crash. Florida Highway Patrol say that Mendoza's car was driving on the wrong side of the road when it collided with Ferrante's car. Sergeant Mark Wazowski of the Florida Highway Patrol said it's still unknown if Mendoza was driving under the influence. Wysocki said Ferrante was taken to Broward Health North Hospital but died 2 days later, and Cacciarioni was pronounced dead at the scene. Wysocki also said they are waiting for the results of the toxicology test before charging Mendoza. Kacie?
Firefighters battled a 3-alarm fire Sunday morning, leaving dozens of residents homeless. The fire spread through the top 3 floors after starting up around 7 a.m. Resident Eliza Garcia said her family had to climb down the fire escape from their 5th-floor apartment because smoke filled the hall, making it impossible for them to get to the stairs. The weather conditions made the fight very difficult for the firefighters. Wind drove the fire through the building, and cold and ice made it harder for them to move quickly. The fire was brought under control just before 9 a.m. 2 firefighters were sent to the hospital with minor injuries, and 1 resident was treated at the scene for minor injuries. The fire is believed to have started in an apartment on the 3rd floor, but the cause is under investigation. Now here's Stephanie with sports.
After another loss for the New York Knicks, Carmelo Anthony didn't try to pretend that everything was fine. He says it is a very tough time for him and his teammates. Taking their poor home court play on the road, the Knicks allowed Washington's John Wall to score 31 points and dropped into last place tie in the Atlantic Division by getting beaten 98-89 at the Wizards on Saturday night. Anthony led the Knicks with 23 points and 12 rebounds. Washington trailed 53-49 at halftime, but outscored New York 27-17 in the 3rd quarter and never trailed again. Knicks coach Mike Woodson described his team's performance as flat and said that the only bright spot that night was Amari Stoudemire. Knicks center Tyson Chandler remains out with a broken leg, and they were without a point guard, Raymond Felton, for a 3rd consecutive game. Woodson said that he's had one-on-one meetings with a few of the players just to let them know it's still a long season and that they have to start picking it up. Kacie?
U.S. ski queen Lindsey Vonn has been training for the upcoming 2014 Winter Olympics. Vonn is hoping to maintain her gold medal standing, which she earned in the 2010 Winter Olympics. Vonn crashed last week while training in Colorado. She sustained minor facial abrasions and scapular contusions, as well as a partial tear in her right ACL. With aggressive therapy, Vonn hopes to be ready in time to compete for the upcoming Winter Olympics taking place in Sochi, Russia in 3 months. Chris?
New York Yankees slugger Alex Rodriguez stormed out of his arbitration hearing last week, calling the process a farce. The Yankees' 3rd baseman, who was appealing his 211-game suspension for steroid use and other conduct deemed detrimental to the game, became incensed when, during the hearing, Major League Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig refused to testify. Selig, who handed down the suspension, is not required to testify per MLB arbitration hearing rules, still drew the ire of Rodriguez and his legal team, who promised to continue the fight the record suspension. Rodriguez called Bud Selig a coward for refusing to face him during the hearing and has stated his suspension is aimed at purely ruining his legacy. The process is expected to continue for the next several months, with the decision not expected to be handed down until January. Rodriguez still maintains his innocence from any wrongdoing. Kacie?
4 white students at San Jose State University are facing misdemeanor hate crime and battery charges. Logan Bieshler, Colin Warren, Joseph Baumgardner, and an unidentified minor were charged for harassing their black suitemates. They taunted him with racial slurs, hung a Confederate flag in the dorm, barricaded him in his room, and placed a U-shaped bike lock around his neck. NAACP leaders are urging the district attorney to take up felony charges against the students. While the authorities shared the organization's desire for justice, the charges against the students cannot be increased based on the current evidence. The NAACP community said that they won't stand by while a student is terrorized. Chris?
A former Marine saved the life of a young woman in Oakland yesterday after she attempted to jump from the 3rd deck at the Oco Coliseum. following the Oakland Raiders game against the Tennessee Titans. The unnamed woman who tumbled backwards over the railing in the upper deck fell about 50 feet before the man leaped forward to catch her. Both were taken to an area hospital with serious injuries. The woman remains in critical condition while the man who saved her life remained lucid and spoke to authorities about the incident. The latest chapter in the video game wars has begun. Microsoft announced yesterday that sales for their newly released Xbox reached 1 million units after the first day, matching that of competitor Sony and their PlayStation 4. Both new consoles made history during the week, becoming the fastest-selling consoles ever, as well as two of the most profitable entertainment products ever released. Retailers are already struggling to meet demand for the two game consoles, with sales expected to continue as the holiday season goes on. Though various hardware problems have been reported with the game system, sales continue to remain strong. That's it for all of us at Channel 8 News. Thanks for watching.